Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. This is a daily ramble. I hope you're all well. Okay, I'm up in my loft room. I'm freezing. My DIY's finished. I'm done. I'm back. I ain't really been away, have I, from you lot? But I've been from my family. I've been locked in a little room, smashing floors up. But you don't want to hear about my DIY. You don't. You want to hear about other things. So, as always, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. You're gonna want that notification button clicked this week. There's gonna be some big news coming, and I'm not joking. All right, and also drop a like on the video. Okay, so John Duran, that was an interesting day yesterday, wasn't it? I'm gonna touch on that later on. I'm gonna let you know exactly what happened. It ain't good, and I'm gonna close that as well. But we're gonna start on a brighter note, and this is fantastic news. We spoke about Angel Gomes. A wonderful player that's been identified and brought to West Ham, a player that can come in and actually transform our midfield, a player that we can use, because I've heard people say, just get bodies in, just go out and get players, like in the forward positions. We don't need bodies. We've got bodies. We need players that are going to come in and make a difference. We play in the Premier League, not the French League, so you need top players if you want top performances. Angel Gomes will come into this club and completely and utterly add balance, add flair, add creativity, add bite, add pace, add everything that we need. And he's exciting. He's exactly the type of player that West Ham fans will love. This deal is on the verge of being done now. It's really moved on. The people behind this deal, I'm going to refer to them as Sports X, and I'll talk about that in a bit, have done a magnificent job beating off the likes of Tottenham, Fulham, Newcastle, who all had a vested interest in this player to bring him in the summer, but they've managed to convince him to come to West Ham. And that deal is now on the table for David Sullivan to sign it and get it done. There's like a medical and whatever else has to be done later this week, but we're hoping that's going to be unveiled. Now, you've heard me speak about this other mystery player, okay? Unbelievable, because this is also close, and I'll be able to reveal the name this week. I didn't think we was going to get this far, if I'm being honest. It's a name that you would never imagine would be linked with West Ham. There's going to be a real fanfare around it. It's a magnificent, magnificent deal for the player and the club. And again, the people at SportsX have moved mountains to get this done. So it's fantastic that we've actually got people working with West Ham that have got the best interests of the club at heart, because these are players that will come in and completely change. Well, just add a different dynamic to us, which is what we want to see under Potter. This type of player coming in, and we just want exciting players so we can watch exciting football, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here. So stay tuned for that, because that is massive news that is going to be released. Someone will probably beat me to the punch again, but don't worry, because I've already made a video 3-4 days ago that I can do like I did with the Gomes deal. But whatever. The most important thing is that these players come in and it gets done, and that's it. And I'll explain to you why, once he's in, why I couldn't reveal the name. It is quite a sensitive one. All right? Okay, so that is something to be excited about. Sports X, I hear you ask. Who the bloody hell are they? Well, Claret and Booze, we're kind of, we're not associated, but we're friends with an elite group, a consortium of sports specialists, who I'm going to refer to as Sports X. It's a made-up name, all right? Because they want their anonymity protected. They're not Tim Stein. They don't, you'll never see them photographed on jet planes or anything like that. No, they just operate in the best interests of the players, clubs, operate in the background like these types of people should do, and get the best deal for all parties, and thank God they're helping West Ham, because the players that are being brought forward are a breath of fresh air compared to some of the ones that I'm seeing leaks elsewhere. And they get the deals done, they get presented to West Ham, and then it's down to West Ham to make a decision on whether or not they push through with these deals. So I will be bringing you quite a lot of news now throughout this window. It is very exciting. I've known these guys now for about a year, and they were the ones behind the John Duran deal as well. And I'm going to go on to talk about that now. Right, John Duran. Let's start at the beginning, okay? It's not as it seems. For a start, I'm going to tell you now, we did not bid 57 million for that player. I'll explain what happened there a little bit later. But you've got to start at the beginning to understand what's happened here. So, Sports X brought John Duran to West Ham. I presented him and said, this is a player that will absolutely revolutionise your attack. I don't think any of us would argue with that. And they managed to broker a deal for 35 million at the start of the summer window. Tim went off swanning around Brazil for 5 weeks, looking for an alternative. Try and find another striker elsewhere because he wants it to be his player by the sounds of it. You know, I think there's a lot of ego going on here. He failed. He came back with Luis Guilherme. Then he was put under pressure to try and get that deal done with Aston Villa. By the time he got back, Villa were a little bit miffed and they went, well, it ain't 35 now, it's 40. Because it was 40 initially, but because of the guys at SportsX have got good relationships with people, they managed to get it down to an affordable price. Well, now that was gone, and they went, no, now we want it done for 40 million. That's what we want. Just tons and tons of incremental bids, 33, 34 plus Lewis Alford, and then we stopped at 35. Right, 35 is all we're going to. Villa went, well, you ain't having him then. And then it gets reported, Aston Villa moved the goalposts. They didn't move the goalposts. We did, as we always do. We just try and get 10 pence off of a deal. Sullivan has to do it. He is a wheeler dealer. It just makes him feel better, I think, Fast forward to the summer. We go back in and we offer what Aston Villa wanted fast forward to January, sorry. We go back and we offer Villa what they wanted in the summer, which was 40 million. They said no. They'd already been told, by the way, because there'd been preliminary conversations, that the price was 60 million at that point. And they said, we're not going to accept a penny less. Don't come to us with any less because it's going to be rejected out of hand. We submitted a 40 million bid and then reported it that we've tried. Well, yesterday morning when I broke that news, before David Ornstein, by the way, because when it comes to John Duran, I am in the know. I think that's beyond any doubt now. It was made clear that Sullivan was gonna be making another offer for Duran, which is why I reported that story. So I knew it was coming. However, what I didn't expect was Sullivan to cut out the people in SportsX that had done all of that work in repairing relations between Aston Villa and West Ham to get them to even get to a stage where they would talk to West Ham again, to try and get this deal done. But they did. They did. So there was a deal there to be done. Okay? And there is still a deal there to be done for another club if they go in and pay the money. There is, at Aston Villa, Duran is a disruptive influence that Unai Emery would gladly get rid of. He would. And what they did, the late twist, was Sullivan and co deciding to cut these people out of the loop at the last minute and try and do it themselves. You figure out for yourselves why that is. But they went straight to the club with the most embarrassing offer yet, which was 45 million, 45 plus 12 million in completely unachievable add-ons. And when I say unachievable, it was as ridiculous as winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League. So basically, completely unachievable, £12 million of add-ons. The offer was 45 million. We did not bid 45 million. Add to that, it was a payment plan. So it was less than what they wanted, with a deferred first payment until the summer, then stretched over a long period. That was what we put on the table. We tried. There's nothing more we can do. That's what they put out there. That's what we're dealing with. Now, the only thing that can go wrong with Gomes and this mystery player and plenty of others that have been put on the table is if the internal politics, egos and everything else, it strikes again. There's too many people at West Ham that are out there for their own vested interests and not the best interests of the club. And it isn't all Sullivan either, believe it or not. So that's the only way that these deals can fail, is if they do something similar again. This is how they operate. This is how they knacker deals. You can't do business like that. You just can't. Certainly not in the world of football. So that is where we are. And in terms of updates on strikers, so there is another player that's been brought to my attention as of yesterday. I've just made a video on him, which I'll release when I'm told that I can. This player is, in my opinion, now I've had a look at him, is a far better option than John Duran for West Ham. I'm not saying he's a better player, but when you consider the attitude issues that are undoubted with Duran, because I'm closing the Duran thing now. I'm not going near it again. I'm done with it. After yesterday, I'm bored with Duran. I don't even want him now. That's done, all right? Great player. Go and enjoy your career somewhere else. He ain't coming to West Ham anyway. Just get over it. I've accepted that now. This player would be better. He's a very young player. He's incredibly powerful, incredibly fast, dexterous, both feet, can score with both feet. Already plays in a team that play the kind of progressive football that Potter's trying to implement at West Ham. Great with his back to goal, great running in behind, creates his own chances. Fantastic team player. This would be better for West Ham than probably John Duran would. Far, far cheaper as well. So I will release his name as soon as I can. And like I said, there are players being brought to West Ham at the moment. The defender that I broke yesterday was a player that SportsX had presented to West Ham, that Alderete. West Ham have rejected that because, I don't know, maybe Will Salthouse has got another gem. I don't know, another Mavropanos around the corner or something. But we'll find out. We'll find out what they're doing. Or they're just happy with their defensive options at the moment. I don't know. So I will keep you updated. Just thought I'd kind of reveal where I'm getting my information from. I can't name names because they wish to remain anonymous, but I think it's quite clear now that, especially after the Duran news yesterday, that, there is substance in what we're saying. So we will keep you updated. We don't get our information from the board, or I don't talk to anyone at board level or anything like that, So there's plenty of contacts that do. So you won't get any gaslighting from me. You won't. I'll just tell you the players that are being offered to West Ham. You might have to wait for the other guys to sort of report whether or not Sullivan's going to go with it or anything like that. But yeah, the Gomes deal and the other player, almost done. John Duran is dead, but there is a new kid on the block in terms of a striker that's just been proposed, and it can get done in this window, and it would be fantastic for us up front, just as exciting as John Duran, and probably more healthy for us as well when you consider everything concerned. So Aston Villa fans, I know you get sensitive when we talk about Duran. I promise you, I'm not going to talk about it anymore on this channel. It's done. It's dead. Keep him. All right? Speak to you soon. Come on, you irons.